This is going to be the 6th and final session of Legend of the Five Rings, 1st edition roleplay. Last we saw... Actually, this exists now. This is Penitent, the Naginata that was forged by Matsuichi. These are statistics. It's essentially just a normal Naginata, but, has that one little bonus because it was forged for a very specific purpose. Last we heard, a special message got sent to the Castle of the Fox. The Mantis had arrived, and they were not looking to play fair. So in the main hall, there is definitely some fluttering going on. The Mantis arriving caused immediate hubbub, and so people are getting prepared. It was known, though, with the speed that things work, they have about a day before the Mantis actually arrive at a certain point. Yamagi has come forth and breathed away with her grand plan, which, as you can tell, samurai are stepping forward almost immediately to speak about it. But she is going to be picking 30 of her best samurai. They'll be escorted by 50 archers, which will have a harass and leave mode. And she is going to be leaving the majority of people in the Fox clan in the forest defending the castle. She is hoping that she and these 30 samurai will be able to buy the respect of the Mantis clan to hold back once their honor is satisfied. That plan, of course, has gotten immediate reactions from Mototsugu, who steps forward and says, all of the samurai of this clan are willing to defend against the Mantis. We have plenty who can defend here at the castle. 30 samurai would be no match against whatever the Mantis hope to bring. That's something that Yamagi puts her hand towards, says, I understand your fears. We've discussed this before. But if I send every last samurai in the Fox clan up against the entirety of the Mantis, our clan may just come to ruin if they decide to take this too far.
Plus 30 is a fairly symbolic number. It's what, about 1 out of 5 of your soldiers?
Something to that kin.
They may see that as a statement of, we are willing to defend or do an honorable combat.
Miyakakujo does arrive, a scroll in hand, and he says, Milady, if you are riding out with 50 samurai, Mototsugu turns and says, it's 30. Kakujo catches his breath for a second, and you can see honest surprise on his face. If you're going out with 30 samurai to face off against the Mantis, I have drafted the Imperial letter, and I am very capable of issuing the Imperial statement first. Mototsugu looks over to speak, and Yamagi says, we will allow you your opportunity, but I cannot give you any further support in that regard. You can perform your duty, but it cannot be seen as something that we, the Fox, are doing. I hope you understand the meaning of this action, says Yamagi. To which Kakujo looks up and says, Of course. Of course, Kakujo looks incredulous the entire time.
I will stand up and step forward and say, I will escort.
Kakujo says, you'll be my escort? I will have you. Thank you very much for coming along. By the way, if you guys want to roll perception and possibly courtier or anything better, you can ask if you want to figure certain things out, and I will let you know what you get from your roll.
Do I want to throw 5K3 or a 6K3? I think I'll go with the 5K3. Perception courtier is 5K3. I see a bad roll there. 7, 14...
So that you got that?
20.
Yep. Key 2.
You have 10, flat 10.
I have 20.
20 is not bad. Anything particular you want to ask to see before I tell you what small detail you may have noticed or not noticed?
Primarily looking at things like what are obvious, any shifts in the crowd.
Well, the Crane are on the edge. There's Fox Clan people everywhere. The Lion Clan guy, the older guy is not present, but 2 of the younger people are in the room talking to each other. They seem to be discussing things in such a way that it doesn't seem like they're being passive about anything. The Scorpion Clan guy isn't here. He stands out because he's the only guy dressed in a full black kimono, remember? Unless you're Matsuichi, in which case you're the only guy dressed up in a mostly gray kimono. You have that same exact kimono you got from the Lion Clan.
Oh no, it's very interesting.
Yeah, he's just carried you along this time. So Kakujo and Akakyoku are going to be in a party. That's decided then. Those 2 are going to be in a small unit that's going to be just dealing with Imperial stuff. The Imperial Favor.
To be honest, this is my idea. So I need to support the guy.
Yes. We have that. And Yoshinobu's not here. The Scorpion Clan guy who has been supportive of the Fox all this time is presently not present.
I wonder if he went to go get the Penal Legion.
Who knows? He's not here to be asked that question. So presently, Yukimura does come up and step down next to Yamagi and says, Yamagi, we do have more forces we can bring to bear than just 30 samurai and 50 archer skirmishers. Especially since we plan on disengaging the archer skirmishers once the battle actually joins. And Yamagi says, we have to do it this way. We do not have the numbers. We do not have the numbers to face off directly, one-on-one. Therefore, we must make our very best token effort. Mototsugu says, if you're going to be sending these 30 men into a very uncertain destiny, I'm going to come along with it. I have served the clan long enough. I will fight as long as I can. Yukimura says, I will do this as well. But Yamagi actually puts out a hand and says, Yukimura, you'll be the general of the defense. Do not let them go any deeper into this forest. Do not let them surround the castle. I'm relying upon you for this. After all, this castle is the home of the Fox clan.
That's valid.
Yamagi speaks up one more time and says, I have made my selection of the 30 samurai. I'll be announcing shortly who will be coming along. Mototsugu, you shall be my officer and in command of the right flank. I will not include you amongst the 30. Yukimura steps in and says, we really should, and she says, Yukimura, you have your post. Please follow the orders. Yukimura and Yamagi exchange a glance there. At this point, he makes the announcement, but it doesn't take much more than an hour or two after that announcement for things to get much, much busier as a lot of people start gathering their armor and weaponry. At this point, guess who you have in your company for most of the time because he wants to talk with various minutiae about what's coming up in the coming days? Miyakakujo, because he's essentially the Imperial Herald right now.
Yeah.
He is going to be dealing with the Imperial Favor, and you are going to be his escort.
I'll ask, not send, ask a servant to go grab my arms and armor.
Servant time. The servant will do so for you. There's kind of an older guy who's been really good at valet business, and he kind of goes and handles that. He's actually handled a lot of business for the Cranes and the Lions, so you're kind of glad to see him do that job. So what you're seeing here, weirdly enough, is actually the actual strength they're going out with. 15 samurai, all armed with spears. Fox Clan samurai have a tendency to use lighter armor, but they do have pretty much some that have heavier armor and some that have lighter armor. But all of them have the use of a spear, and thankfully that's one thing that the Fox Clan specialize in as far as their soldiers are concerned. They are spear users. However, Yamagi carries her katana and wakizashi with her. She's, weirdly enough, a daisho user. Very early in the morning on the next day, where she assembles the 30 samurai, and of course, Mototsugu is finally dressed up and armored in full. There are plenty of other moribito or samurai that are going to be defending the castle, standing off in the distance. But she looks out at the 30 samurai and says, my brave brothers of the Fox Clan, this is it. We are going to show the Mantis that we have the strength to stand independently. We're going to show the Mantis that they cannot underestimate our might. I have no idea what the future holds, but it's going to be a future where the Fox Clan have a place. And that will be assured, bought and paid for, today. She draws her katana and says, to the Fox Clan for all time, Banzai! And so she'll, out of the, not the 30 men here, but everybody assembled, get a Banzai 3 times over. That's the most traditional pre-battle battle cry. And so she and the 32 samurai we see here go marching off toward the stables to acquire steeds because they want to get there first. They're going to be doing it dragoon style. They're going to be deploying on horse and they're going to be coming back. Well, they'll be fighting as an infantry force. It is not assumed they're going to have a way to retreat easily. They're going to sit there and hold the line.
The samurai, are any of them kitsune or are they almost just Fox Clan?
These are Fox Clan men. That's another funny thing. There are no women in this formation and there are no kitsune. So the full-blooded samurai wives and women have all been probably had plenty of sex in the last month and have assured their way onto making new clan samurai. Because, trust me, that right now is going to be a bit more important than having equal representation on the field.
Yep.
Because right now, they have to win using specific tactics. Matsuichi, what were you doing at all? Because right now, you're going to stay back from what it seems like. There is something that you may or may not have remembered. So Matsuichi is planning on He doesn't think he has a place in this one because he's not part of the clan. It doesn't involve directly in their honor, right? Weirdly enough, a Kitsune messenger shows up. He goes up to Toramon and whispers and says, "Are you Matsuichi?" And Toramon's like, "Matsuichi? I believe he's the, he looks about. Are you trying to stay incognito right now, or are you going to..."
I will nod and say, yes.
The Kitsune messenger switches their stance, turns over to one side and says, "Matsuichi, there is a gathering of highly armored forces outside, and they've asked to speak with you."
All right.
And if you follow the Kitsune servant, they go outside. You kind of like there's the front area of the castle, and there's like the back area of the castle. In the back, kind of in the side, as you walk out onto what it essentially is the back balcony, amongst those trees and leading up are a line of what look like 40 fully armored Sohei in heavy armor with naganatas. All of them seem very, very quiet, stoic, and forward-looking. And at the very front is a figure you've seen before, now wearing a lot more armor than you've seen him as wearing in the past. He looks at you and says, "Swordsmith Matsuichi, your blade has not found a home."
No, it has not yet.
"This is sad. But I must ask, the Kitsune, do you know what they are doing right now? I have heard rumors that the Mantis are invading."
Mantis are invading. It almost seems as if Yamagi has almost removed the Kitsune from this conflict. And it might be out of the reasons that I've been hoping to glint. But it definitely seems to be her responsibility to protect these lands without the aid of the Kitsune.
The Kitsune yokai, and had very few dealings with them. I think the real issue here is that the Fox clan are needing to respond to the situation with force.
That is true. There's a home that needs defending.
As the sacrificial guards marching off.
We have been enjoying our time here in the forest in the winter. It would be entertaining to see what goes on in the fields of battle. Do the Fox clan have a place in their armies where we could join?
Let's go ask.
At this point, you and the one lead, not the other guys, they're just hanging out in the yard, so to speak, but you and the one lead go and speak to... Who would you like to speak to?
There was a secondary under Yamagi in
Mototsugu.
Mototsugu?
Yeah.
And he is going to with the 30 Samurai.
Yes.
Okay. He's the one that I will go to speak first.
At this point, he's getting his armor ready. After all, getting samurai armor on, it takes a little bit of a while. You come into the room where he's getting prepared, which is funny because it is the same room where Shigemari and Yukimura are also preparing their armor. Most of the people who have higher-end armor are preparing it in this room. Mototsugu looks up and says, "You have come into this room for what reason?" He looks a little bit off-put.
We have... Ginzo here would be interested to know if there is a place in the front for he and his forces.
He steps forward and says, "I have a mere collection of Sohei to offer." Mototsugu takes a glance over at Yukimura. Yukimura is smiling and takes a glance back at Mototsugu. And Shigemari has a look on his face like, "Hell yeah!" But he doesn't say anything. Mototsugu looks back at Yukimura and says, "We plan on deploying 30 samurai as a gesture to repel and pay our debt to the Mantis clan. Are your Sohei horse-mounted?" He looks forward and says, "They are not. How soon are you leaving for war, for we are ready now?" To which Mototsugu says, "I am very certain that Lady Yamagi is only looking to perform a holding action against the Mantis and to shame them for their actions." The head Sohei leans in and says, "That is a rather silly idea." Mototsugu kind of has a look on his face like, ugh. Yukimura kind of pushes his face aside, and Shigemari is kind of nodding in the corner. Ginzo steps forward and says, "If we are not allowed to join the forces, then we will depart now." He bows to the room and turns around and leaves. Are you going with him or not?
So his offer was refused, or they're basically telling him he can do what he pleases?
Well, welcome to Rokugani's subtlety. You're getting the strong impression that...
3 top samurai don't agree with the battle plan.
There you go! Give yourself a freaking experience point. The top samurai probably had a different plan that got refuted. As you can see, you probably have seen the battle strength of the Fox Clan samurai. When you're going to war in old Japan or in Rokugan, what do you primarily bring to battle?
Peasants.
Ashigaru. Yeah, like lots of them. From what you're gathering mentally, all of the lower class forces are going to be defending the castle and the forest. What was just explained and just said had a lot of layers to it. It wasn't said openly. It was almost implied between the two. What is Matsuichi doing?
How poetic is Matsuichi? He will, at this point,
Go with the battle priests. Go with the battle priests.
reach for the naginata and present it to the general traveling with Yamagi. This blade was forged with the purpose to protect a home.
Mm-hmm.
Its name, Penitent.
Mototsugu looks at you with wide eyes and says, "This is a blade you reforged from the blade that was attacking our borders?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know you had such skill."
I would appreciate it if you would be able to select a warrior that you think would be worthy of it.
Yukimura holds up his hand and says, "I carry the Spear of Rosei during this battle. I am incapable of carrying another polearm." He just nods his head once. "This blade will be in the hands of the defenders." Weirdly enough, there is an armed servant that is there at the moment that is pretty much, readying the Spear of Rosei for battle. And she comes over and actually accepts the naginata from you and bows very low, and then returns to Yukimura's side. You've gotten the impression that they can take the blade from here.
Mm-hmm. I will prepare all my armor and weapons, and I think I will travel with the monks.
Cool.
I feel like that is a direction the wind blows.
You gotta hurry because, let's put it this way, there's all kinds of green and forest out there. The monks, at this point, going out in this direction with their leader in front. And Matsuichi's like, "Wait for me back here."
They're in heavy armor though, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm in light armor, so I can travel at least a little bit faster.
These guys seem pretty familiar with their heavy armor. They are not slowed down by it, from what you see.
Interesting. All right.
One thing that Akakyoku is doing, because he's going with the Imperial Herald, there will be a unit of 2 guys on horseback up in front. And further along, there will be the forces of the Fox back a pretty good distance. We'll say there's probably going to be a good 1,000 feet between them. This is not on the map, by the way. It's just telling you. So I did draw a bit of a map to show you what's actually going down. First of all, visually looking forward, you don't have to have a battle skill to realize this is going to be one boring battle. This is the Golden Sun Plain right here. This is about, from here to here, is about 7 kilometers. This is some farm fields that make up a good kilometer space deep. Fields around Kyuden Suzume. Kyuden Suzume, they're that direction. Its first farm fields are down here next to the roads. There is this river, and the river isn't close enough to perform a bottleneck. Unless you count the fact that there's all these muddy fields, the entire ground is that color of brown that happens when winter ends and spring has yet to really begin. There's an Ashigaru messenger running back and forth between the 2 different forces, but there are Mantis Clan forces making their way up the road. On the Fox side of things, they have their 1 unit, and weirdly enough, it's preceded by a bunch of these guys over here. And it looks like there are peasants already out there with pavisas set up and everything, already in position where the 30 samurai are coming up. It's almost like there's this pack of someone sitting over here, God knows for what reason. We have the Imperial Herald out in front, right? The Fox Clan people over here can't recognize who these people are. And these people can recognize there's Fox Clan banners over there, like what, all 3 of them? 1 for Yamagi, 1 that's the Sashimono on Mototsugu, and then there's 1 per 10 samurai, essentially. So there's a few banners over there. He plants the Fox Clan banner right there. It's not that big, but you get the idea. And they can't really recognize what this is. If you're over there hanging out with the Sohei...
Me and the Sohei got there first.
Yes. You guys technically arrived like a couple minutes ago, but the horses have been much more quickly catching up and behind for reasons.
I'm sweating, by the way.
Trust me.
They were moving fast.
There appear to be some random bushes, and you could swear those bushes weren't there before.
I probably just never noticed them before.
Yeah, no. I look at this giant plain.
Yeah.
No cover, bushes. What's in the fucking bushes?
Right now, you are in contact with Miya Kakujo. You are a unit.
Yeah.
He actually has 2 Imperial servants with him, but guess what the Imperial servants are not going to be doing?
Talking.
fighting in the battle either. They're Imperial servants.
Yeah.
They're going to be retreating and carrying any kind of Imperial regalia with them if worse comes to worse. It's pretty much you and him, and he's not paying much attention. He doesn't bring it up. If you bring it up...
No, I'll bring it up as we're riding out.
He just kind of lifts his hand and says, I'm not sure about those bushes. This is my first time coming here. Remember, we said there's like 30 samurai in the unit, down from the Fox clan side. It looks like there are a good 1,000 or so Mantis clan samurai rolling up from the south. You don't have heraldry, right?
Yes, I do.
You do have heraldry? Cool. So you may roll your heraldry skill along with...
Intelligence?
Yes.
Cool. 4K3. A for having high intelligence.
Oh, that's right. It's one skill, yeah. I guess you're going to keep these... This is your 18, right?
Yep.
One dice. And you have a 9 here that we don't see on camera.
32.
That's 32, yeah. And he is rolling like shit, honestly, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So, he's back in a 22. So, and weirdly enough, you've kind of exceeded him because you've been studying up on Mantis Clan heraldry for the situation. You recognize Yoritomo banners. Mm-hmm. You recognize banners that don't look like Yoritomo banners, but they're pretty close.
Could I have had them make me a Phoenix Clan banner?
There's a thing called the Sashimono, where it's a light banner you put on your horse. Yeah. That can be done.
Yeah.
There are two things you don't see down here amongst their forces. Mm-hmm. You do not see Moshi family banners. You do not see Saruchi family banners.
I'm going to mention, I guess Matsuichi is better connected than I thought he was, because his friend came through.
Meanwhile, I'm looking out, I'm like, I don't see any archers.
So I'm going to pull these dice aside for now.
Me and him are going out in first.
You're going out in front, so you're like a little bit of a trot, and these guys pull up here, weirdly enough. And you kind of don't like what you see. There's a good 100 Mantis Clan house guard here. There are some guys here carrying heavy armor, nodachis. There are guys who are packed to the nines with very heavy weaponry.
Any major archer formations or cavalry formations for that matter?
You don't see cavalry at all. You do see some archers, but weirdly enough, they look like light infantry.
Skirmishers.
Yeah. Guess who does have a horse? And there's like a small clod coming out of the forest coming through.
Well, if I remember his name.
Yoritomo Doumeki.
Yeah.
There are quite a few officer-looking types. The Mantis Clan banner is being held behind him by some samurai. He rolls out in front and says...
I'll bow as he's coming up.
He says, I see an Imperial banner and I see a Phoenix banner. Those are not Fox banners. He is decked to the nines in armor right now. And he looks over and says, what are you two doing here? And Kakujo looks over at you. He holds up the letter and opens it and says, my name is Miyo Kakujo. I am the Imperial Herald, and I speak with the voice of the Emperor as of this time. Oh, says Doumeki.
I represent Clan Phoenix to the Fox Court, and I'm acting as escort for the Imperial Herald.
Doumeki actually kind of gives you a curt nod/bow, which is more respect than you got from him in the past.
Oh, yeah.
And he looks over to the Imperial and just kind of leans in. Kakujo has the scroll out and is pretty much reading at this point. He says, it is, under the stretch of Imperial law, unlawful to engage in combat without the Emperor's direct orders. In these circumstances, if you wish to fight the Fox Clan, we ask that you hold back your forces and send forth a champion to engage in a duel. If this cannot be attained to, we ask that the heads of the Mantis Clan step aside from this battle. The Emperor does not wish to see conflict between the Mantis and its estranged lesser families. This has been signed and dated with the Imperial Seal as of the first day of the month of the dragon. Kakuju holds up the scroll, and Doumeki looks at him with this very dissatisfied look and says, you're wielding Imperial leverage against us to stop this battle. Kakujo says, yes, with stages and conditions.
We understand that a battle must take place. We are trying to limit the bloodshed.
The Phoenix Clan does not have a direct interest in this, do they?
No, we do not.
In that case, let me speak with the Imperials, says Doumeki.
I will bow and nudge my horse back a couple steps.
Doumeki looks over and says, those over there, that's the Fox Clan forces? Yes, says Kakujo. What did they bring? Because I'm not seeing very many banners. And Kakujo says, at present, the total 50 archers and 30 samurai. Doumeki's immediate response is, damn them all! An entire pile of gods be defiled, and it be a better situation than this morass of shit that I see before me. You are telling me they brought out 30 actual men to oppose me. Kakujo steals his chin and says, Lord Doumeki, this is the forces of the Fox arranged as they have come forth to see fit in battle. Doumeki kind of sneers for a bit and says, although I'm not above trampling over the Imperial entourage and just doing as I wish, if I look to actually keep the Imperial favors in the near future, in my Imperial decree as Lord of the Mantis, 30 samurai. Kakujo doesn't respond, but Kaku just kind of nods in a bow. He waves up a hand, and most of his officers then come up and gather around him. A few of you have been looking for promotions recently, haven't you? And there's a bit of muttering back and forth. A bunch of the Mantis samurai. I know you're standing, says Doumeki. And he leans over towards Kakujo and says, so you said the Mantis heads have to stand out of this combat. Are the Fox heads standing out of this combat, or are they coming as well? Kakujo looks over at you, actually. Doumeki strokes his goatee for a second. He cuffs his knee several times and then looks over at Kakujo and says, I am going to offer forth these officers as my champions. Yoritomo Ginzaburo, you're a pretty spry general. You get the samurai then. Those men there and those men there. Yoritomo Chokawa, there is a young man with a spear. Actually, he's been in like the rear of the officers' court. My lord, you have noticed me. And says, silence. You've shown yourself to have some good skill despite your age. The bushi, you will take command of them. They have spears as much as you do. Chocobo, go out and pick your men. And he says, yes, sir. And he runs out actually toward the bushi yard and starts calling out with his spear. Doumeki waves his finger and says, Harime, you, today, you're going to hold your mouth and show how well you can direct forces in the field. I'm giving you command of the Marines. Just those Marines. The ones that really need testing. Take 150 of them. This young samurai girl bows to him twice and says, thank you, my lord. It is an honor.
As he's calling these guys out, can I do a rough estimate of the troops that they're taking out?
Go ahead and make a perception roll.
Straight perception?
Yeah. You don't have the battle skill, right?
No.
Straight perception. 16 is enough to beat the basic difficulty. It sounds like the Mantis are going to be outnumbering the Fox.
Oh.
But they're not bringing thousands against the Fox. Once these guys all scatter out, Doumeki directs the rest of the officers, says, the rest of you, to your positions. Kaneoze, you are not a specific officer of anyone particular. Pick one of these officers and attach yourself to them. I don't want them going into this battle unsupported. Doumeki turns about on his steed and says, the forces of the Mantis, if you are not gathered to a force of the officers I have called out, hold your positions. If you are of the house guard, come with me. I will be taking position upon that yonder ridge. I'll be watching this battle. The Mantis, for the most part, he's Doumeki. He's going to go sit back. There's 3 small units that are there. It looks like a good 100 men each, although there's probably more on the Marine side.
He assigned like newer generals to those.
You heard what he said.
Two of them were fairly new. One of them is probably an old battle horse.
By the way, the Mantis clan samurai are all wearing teal green with black armor. With like green belts and green accoutrements, right? They have golden decorations on their helm, if their helms have decorations. The bushi look like they're wearing like some light green or white with green armor on top of that. Light armor for the most part. The Marines are dressed in whatever freaking color they want to. Some of them happen to have green or teal or whatnot, but they look like rabble by comparison.
The sad thing about it is I look at them as they're more dangerous than the bushi. They're less disciplined, which means that they can do stupid crap. I will move my horse forward to the Imperial Envoy that we go and retrieve our daimyo and tell her, hey, sorry, you're stuck on the sidelines.
Okay.
Pretty certain that she'll be happy about that.
If Doumeki has to stay on the sidelines, she has to stay on the sidelines.
I think I think it's pretty fair.
It is.
By the way, by the time you get to here, these guys are actually marching. They get to these positions. And the Marines are actually stretching out into more of a line. You're getting the impression that shit's going to start here really shortly. Okay, so you and Kakujo ride up to pretty much where Yamagi and actually Mototsugu has retained his horse. She's talking with the men and preparing positions. You realize they kind of picked a smart place on this boring battlefield to fight. They've got muddy rice fields that haven't been planted yet on either side of them, unless you want to go fight in the freaking mud.
And fighting in mud sucks.
And they all have spears, too. As you roll up to where Yamagi and Mototsugu is, Mototsugu's still on his horse, Yamagi is foot directing the men. What are you going to say?
I'm going to bow to Yamagi. Daniel Yamagi.
She kind of walks over a little bit, because she was a little bit off on the way.
I regret to inform you, you must follow me.
What she says?
In accordance to the Imperial Herald, the leaders of the two forces cannot engage in combat.
She looks at you with a look like you just slapped her in the face. However, she's also holding, it says, the Imperial Edict included leaders on both sides. Kakuju says, Yoritomo Doumeki was insisting that he might just ignore Imperial edicts. And given his position on the seas, we negotiated a good way for him to bring most of his forces out of the combat, including himself. Doumeki is probably the most experienced general on Rokugan right now. We don't want to fight him. The condition of this was that the other daimyo would have to leave as well. And at that, Yamagi has this look on her face. Her face is screwing up almost in this look of, why? She doesn't say that, but you can tell she's restraining herself greatly right now.
Plus, I think your men would feel better if you are not in direct danger.
She literally steps down really hard on one foot, steps down hard on the other foot, puts her hands on her head and says, I know how Doumeki feels right now. Well, if the Emperor has requested this, she lifts up her hand and says, Mototsugu, I confess you are a better general than I. Please lead my men to victory. And if you must die today, I will remember you greatly for this. Mototsugu nods his head and says, My lady, I only live to serve. In death I will serve as well. Yamagi lowers her head, bows seriously to Mototsugu, looks over to where you are at.
I'll get off my horse if she doesn't have one.
She gladly accepts your offer of the horse, but looks at you and says, Where are you going?
As close to you two as I can be. If that means I stay behind while somebody charges him, that's what happens.
You can actually hoof it on foot while they're walking with their horses. They're not galloping away. The horses are just going to be walking along mounted, and you can just follow them along.
I figured that's what would happen because there's not another horse here.
They're going to sit back over here. You do notice that Doumeki's has some signals that are going from here, and there is some hand waving going on from over here, and you're realizing, is he trying to circumvent things? Make a perception plus battle roll. You have investigation at rank 3, right?
Yes.
You give yourself one purple dice that you do not necessarily get to keep, but you can choose to keep it if you need to. It was a 4, so...
I'm probably keeping it, because I rolled a 1 on the other.
You said that the purple dice would haunt you, right?
Yeah.
This one was purple. Go ahead. You notice that the bushes have been following the mantis.
I'm going to kind of lean over to Yamagi and say, what'd you put in the bushes?
Yamagi looks over and says, What?
They're moving.
Yamagi is not stupid or blind. Give me half a second. Yamagi's also not good at certain things. Okay, so we'll get to you in half a second here. Yamagi sees the bushes and realizes, I told that fool to stay away. Oh, no.
We're going to get in trouble because they just broke Imperial Edict. These guys come out wearing fox colors, they're in trouble.
If you want to, you can take a horse and go out and talk to the bushes.
I don't have a horse.
They stopped over here, by the way.
Yeah. By the time I can get out there on foot, it'll be too late.
You want to know what's going on with you guys and Gin.
I'm not in charge, I think.
No, you're not. You're
Gin's
just
in charge.
there.
Ginz knows his men.
Ginzo respects you a lot because of what you did for him, though. And he says, My brothers, the time has come. We move to the flank, and we take what comes our way. And at that point, the little black box starts moving. These guys rustle along with the armor quite well for being a bunch of just dudes in black armor, right?
Get picked up between two shoulders.
Oh, you can keep pace with them.
I know, yeah.
Because you got great stamina. You've got high defense. You've got high earth stat. Congratulations. You can roll with these boyos. We're going to zoom in a little, by the way. Now, let's describe what we have here. Pile of Mantis Bushi here. Big old pile of Mantis Samurai here. And a long string of Marines armed with various different chaotic weapons. There are some arrow fires coming from the back of this regiment here. But you've realized it's pretty much melee guys, melee guys, melee guys. These guys have shown in the position. These guys have started moving this way because guess who can't shoot right now?
Them.
Yes.
I am actually going to try to hoof my way over to those bushes. Because
It's a way over. You can follow the bushes if you want to.
I'm going to kind of hoof my way over. I'm going to start looking gloweringly at them.
Akakyoku. This is your little marker. So you're going to head off in this direction. Ginzo and his men are pretty much hoofing it forward, but haven't made contact yet. Guess what happens? The commander of the force technically should be Genzaburo. But dirty trick being played. Guess who was doing signal corps type stuff a little bit earlier and we all saw it happening?
Yep.
Doumeki. So Doumeki's full battle plus perception gets used against Mototsugu's battle and perception. 6k3, which is not bad considering Yamagi is actually worse. So here we have the advancing forces of the Mantis, the standing forces of the Fox clan, and of course weird interlopers going on here and there.
Oh dear.
Here's the actual rules for mass combat.
I'll need to look at that later.
It's a water ring stat roll.
Yes. Typically what happens is the generals roll to see what happens, but first you must decide where you are in the forces. From what I'm hearing, Akakyoku is in reserves.
Yes.
It sounds like Matsuichi is presently disengaged, looking to get engaged.
Yep.
So,
It looks like
at least you're wearing armor. Not wearing armor gives you a
lot-
penalty.
Not a lot of armor, but a little bit.
This allows me to pretty much just throw dice of wounds onto your characters. It doesn't say how many you get to keep. But I like to run things differently, where the number of dice of wounds can also be the severity of the encounter you come across, with heroic opportunities and duels being very specific events. What we're going to do is, since you guys have been declared, we're going to see if the battle is winning, even, or losing right now, and then we're going to have you guys make your roll.
I'm just hoping he doesn't get to use his full die pool for the entire engagement.
Oh no, Genzaburo is going to be in charge after this, and his dice pool is pretty much equal to Mototsugu. We've all discussed earlier, the Mantis have gotten more war experience than most of the clans have recently. Oh shit. Doumeki just Doumeki'd.
Oh shoot.
Good news is that the Fox clan are not fucking off right now.
But that's
That is a shit. 3 10s to keep. That's going to be a bitch to beat. Doumeki being Doumeki.
Well, it wasn't another 10, so
Yeah.
bright side of things.
Yeah, that is a 39. It looks like a 39 for the Fox.
Or 2, 3,
2.
I think it's 3 degrees.
54. Doumeki is winning. And so the Mantis have +1 win in this battle. Here's how battle goes. You win 3 times in a row, you have won the battle.
So what you're saying is the Mantis slam like a wave.
Yeah.
The Mantis hit.
Even if he technically was penalized because he was using flags as signals, but still, that's fairly standard.
As you can imagine, Doumeki does not really care too much about exactly following Imperial etiquette right now. So, I'm going to put down where you guys actually are on the chart here. You're adding your water score, which should be 2, plus your battle score, which should be 0, to 1 dice, and rolling it.
So
Pick your favorite die, your one favorite die, and roll it. 4. Plus 2 is 6. Okay. Matsuichi, roll 1 dice and add your water plus battle. Go for it. 7 plus 2 is 9, right?
Yep.
he's one higher.
Yes. So there you are. Usually you gain glory points in battle. I'm keeping track of these on this sheet for this very reason. That's why I'm marking these down with a marker. Where do you want to go first? You are moving. You're moving in this direction, and you
I'm
end up
moving
here.
there, and I'm trying to, like I said, get a count of the guys that are hiding in those bushes.
Perception plus battle. If you're going to use investigation, you may use one of your 3 investigation dice.
It'll be an investigation. And I get to keep those top 3.
You're looking at those bushes. You don't quite see people hidden amongst them yet. And you're looking and you're thinking...
Kitsune.
You're thinking Kitsune. You're thinking Kitsune, but you're also realizing something. Those bushes don't look really cheap. Someone did a really good job making sure those bushes looked like bushes.
Can I get a guesstimation?
The numbers of different bushes, it looks like there's like 50 to 60 bushes.
I'm guessing between 1 and 2 people a bush. Probably.
Maybe. You don't know what's going on
You know
there.
what?
Yeah.
Numbers are even. Cool. Back to the party.
It's okay. So you're still presently here.
Yeah.
Your next turn will be going back. You'll still be in reserves.
Yeah.
Matsuichi. You get to bear witness to the Fox Clan archer line opening fire on the Marines. Mototsugu waves and says, "Archery fire to the fore! To the fore!" And the arrows that were going this way initially now start heading towards the samurai. At that point, Harime, well, the officer over here next to the banner, calls out something. The Marines start huffing it. And at that point, Ginro says, "Brothers, speed is of the essence." And they start huffing it. And you're starting to feel your calves start to burn a little. You realize next turn there's going to be fighting going on.
Yep.
There are no archers shooting at this unit, and you're not engaged yet. Mm-hmm. We've got 3 dice worth of wounds to throw at you, which means I'm going to get you a level 3 encounter going on here. You can imagine at some point in this fight, the Marines are threatening the archers. The archers are starting to move over here or back. Some of them are just plain fleeing. So the line is starting to turn where the archers are no longer where they said they'd be, and the Pavisas are just there, right? The Marines can see what's happening, but this is also happening. The Sohei connect. You may roll initiative, good sir.
So it's just going to be that 7. 7 plus 6 is 13.
Okay, 13. 10 for them. Oh, and the Mantis generally get to roll in what initiative? 6. Plus their reflexes. So yeah, they're going to go on a 9. So, actually most of these guys have 2. Unless you decide to fight Harime, that's different. No duel or heroic came up. To describe it succinctly, the Sohei hit the Marines like a chainsaw through broccoli. You have not seen Sohei fight before, and you realize, holy shit, these guys are effective. Before the last 30 meters close, they start chanting, "Onbishamon Tendai Soka," like over and over again. And when they hit, they have their naganatas going in like a figure 8 pattern, and the Marines are facing off against pole arms being wielded by expert warriors that are charging them in the flank. There's a lot of dead bodies showing up immediately. And you're actually not seeing very many Sohei fall, if at all. You're more focused on surviving right now. By the way, there are 3 Mantis Marines in front of you that were looking to hold off the flank anyway, and they are in a line, literally.
Draw into them. Yeah. I'm stuck in the charge, so I have to cut through them.
So you're going to pretty much draw and, make your sword do the work, right?
Yep. When I miss, the guy behind me is going to get, and if I stop moving, I'll be one of those guys that gets get, so.
And you may roll agility plus Kenjutsu or Aijutsu to go ahead and hit the opponent.
So 63.
There's a 10 there, there's a 9 there.
And
A
10, 11.
A 10's an 11, oh boy. You got another 9 here. You want to do 2 9s?
Yep.
He has basic reflexes, light armor. Most of these guys don't have helmets. Defense value of 2. So he is rocking 10, 5, 2, 17. You cut into this boy. Do you want to roll damage in that? 3k2 weapon.
What's the 5k2 part?
Your strength is 2. So it's going to be 5k2 total.
Oh, okay.
Your strength adds to the damage code.
Got it.
So roll 5, keep 2. And we'll see how far you get this guy down. I don't see any 10s.
Just a 9 and 8.
And an 8, okay. So counting down, this is your average boy. You get 4, get 4, get 4, get 4, and then 1. That puts him at -0, -1, -2, -3, -4. This one guy is rocking a -4. We can assume the first guy is out of the way. Marine behind is going to attack you. What's your TN to be hit?
24.
24. Wow. You're better than he is. Baka! He misses. You may roll initiative again.
10.
10
plus 6 is 19.
You got 19? Wow, this guy rolled amazingly well. So the one guy who just tried to attack you, he's actually not the guy with initiative. There's another guy hooking around the other side going, "Ah!" He's literally got 2 commas in his hand, and he's going to try to hack you with one of them. And he is not rolling the 10s he needs to hit you. The other guy did not beat you in initiative, so you may roll to attack now.
I think the guy who is about to attack me. I didn't roll any 10s again, so it's just going to be 20 to hit. Oh, I forgot about raises and such.
It's okay.
Which I think is good.
What'd you hit?
I just got a 20.
That's a 20? Okay. That's just enough to hit. Raise would have missed you. Roll damage on that one.
Again, no 10s. So it's just going to be 18.
18? So in the -4. So you got him into the -4s as well. You have handled 2 of the 3 Marines. There's one guy off to your right shoulder. You've essentially moved during this combat to be right about here. There are other Marines in front of you getting chummed by Sohei. I'm going to do a general unit effect. I know what's going to happen, because the Sohei just are better than the Marines are. Oh, and the Sohei charged. Charge dice. They lost by a full 15. This unit is rocking negative 15 to its total power. We're going to figure out if that's in casualties, if that's in advantage or whatnot. Right, you versus one last guy. That's a 9.
9 plus 6, 15.
9 plus 6 is 15, okay. You beat him. I'm assuming it's going to be as simple as slashing the sword to the one side. Because he's trying to get you in the back with 2 comma. You're trying to cut him through the belly with your sword. He's going to try full defense against you. It may not work, but...
I didn't roll in 10s this time, so...
He didn't either.
14, 5, 19.
19. You strike him. It's not a really clean strike, but it's doing really good. You may roll damage against this guy.
No 10s again.
Son of a bitch. You get to keep 2. It looks like it's 14.
But,
He's at negative 3, and he's rolling a 4 dice pool because he's a basic warrior. He's probably going to act like he got killed.
He is going to lay down and stop moving, yes.
Yeah. Trust me, it's not a very samurai thing to do, but trust me, if you're not a samurai, laying down pretending to be dead is a very common thing.
I can always recover from a wound. Can't recover from being dead.
Time to progress to round 2. During this time, these guys are engaging. Akakyoku, I think you said you're going back to the party, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
My job is an escort and guard, so that's what I'm doing.
You are going to be heavily engaged with the Sohei versus the Marines.
That happened, yep.
Meanwhile, you are going to be in reserve still, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. I'm going to roll some dice. Now, Genzaburo, Yoritomo Genzaburo versus Kitsune Mototsugu, right here, right now, on the course of Rokugan. No one's rolling 10s. And it looks like the Fox have a plethora of dice to choose from. Sadly, the Mantis are still winning. 26 for the Mantis, 24 for the Fox. Hopefully, the tides of battle come through. Because of how close it is, and there's not too many successes going off in that one direction, I'm going to roll 2 dice. If the Mantis win this little roll-off, they actually count as winning. Otherwise, it's an even phase of the battle. They have a win, but we're going to use the even section and not the losing like a bitch section of the battle chart. Fox gained that one, so it's an even Steven for the time being. Who wants to roll first?
Let's go. It's gonna happen to me probably first anyways. It's on the die, I can't see.
Oh, that's a 5.
Oh, average.
That's a 6. So you're at an 8 and you're at a 7. So Akakyoku, even reserves, right?
Yep.
And you got a 7, we said, right?
Rolled a 6 plus 2 for water.
And you got the 7, right?
Yeah, I guess.
5 plus 2.
Heavily engaged. Oh, fuck yeah!
There are words there I can't see.
Someone's getting in a duel.
All right. Before you, the female samurai who's commanding the Marines is doing her best to try to make sure the Marines aren't getting chummed by the Sohei, and the Sohei are actually doing a pretty good job of preventing them from doing that. Monks start beginning a chant. You notice that the officer of the monks, Ginro, he's concerned more with keeping his men under good control as opposed to doing anything really brash by himself. But there is a relatively clean line between you and the opposite samurai. You didn't pass out any names earlier, right? You just recognize there's a female samurai in heavy armor directing the battle with her katana on one hand and her, trying to make sure the Marines are doing their shit. What's your plan of action, Matsuichi-san?
Go for glory.
I'm going to encourage a couple of the Sohei next to me to engage that group, since if we can rout the commander, then... So, I'm going to grab a couple guys and go charge into a group, because that makes sense to me.
Okay, Matsuichi, you are a samurai of Rokugan. You have a clear line of sight to the commander, and you're within moving distance to square off with her.
So, opportunity for a duel, correct?
You have to call it out. She's not going to call you to a duel because she's a Mantis. But you can challenge her to a duel.
Okay. But I do want to bring the 2 at least a couple Sohei to encourage her to accept the duel rather than she just relying on the men around her.
Sure. Go ahead. Express yourself, sir.
Point my sword to her and yell out, "I think we both know what needs to be done at this point. I challenge you to a duel, and to determine whether or not your men can make their own decisions."
She calls out and says, I am your Harime. Why should I be listening to you? You're not even one of the Sohei.
How much do the Mantis hate the Crane?
The Crane and the Mantis are enemies at this point in history.
Rather badly.
Just curious, I just wanted to know a little bit. I am Matsuichi, trained in the way of the Kakita clan. Let's see if you can prove your mettle.
She says, Kakita? Eh? You know what? She is going to put her sword in her sheath and accept the duel. A lot of her men are like, oh shit, and running away from that. But still, here's how duels work. Before a duel, you may roll your Aijitsu plus Perception to gain a stats from the opponent.
Okay. 29 on one die. It's a perception roll, so it's only keep 2.
Wow. If you have your 2 perception, yeah.
29 and 8. So, 37.
The Matsuichi-san. It's not a competitive roll. Everything you get past 15, you get to discover a stat of your opponent. Yep. You beat it by 20, 25, 30, 35. The stats that you can ask for are, of course, agility, reflexes, Aijitsu skill, void, school rank. You get to learn all of those. So it turns out she is agility 3, reflexes 3, with a school rank of 2. Her Aijitsu skill is 2. Her void stat is 3.
Ooh, she's more experienced than I am. Ooh. Okay, I'm actually not really familiar with duels, so we're going to go through the process? Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Here is the good news. So she's rocking 5k3 in the duel. I believe you have more. What happens is there's a bid thing. You challenged her. So she has the first option to focus or strike. This is going to force you into kind of a bad spot. What happens is you have your void rank that you can use to focus or strike with. Striking early is kind of a bad thing because it lowers the TN you get to hit at. Your TN to be hit starts at 5 and then goes up per bid you make. With your void rank, you can max out your 2 hit at 15.
2B hit?
Yes.
Okay.
This could be nasty.
I'm going to say they're fairly even. He's got more.
I've got a little bit of a better skill than she does.
You've got a little better skill, but she's got better void and better school.
Yeah.
That she can raise her armor class higher than I can.
If you run out of bids, the only bid you have left once you run out of void is to call the opponent to strike. Let me measure this out. You've got 2, right? 2 in void.
Yeah.
And she has 3 in void. So she does focus or strike, you do focus or strike. She does focus or strike, you do focus or strike. She does focus or strike, and you have to call. And she would be rocking a 5, 10, 15, 20. You'd be rocking a 15. Nasty.
But while she's defending, he's attacking.
Duels don't quite work that way. Predetermining this is going to be nasty. So if you want to call earlier, you will be at a disadvantage because you're...
I'm going to be at a disadvantage, just in general, because she's focusing first and being forced to call first, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
What are the actions other than calling and then...
You have the option to bow out of a duel, but as a challenger, that's pretty dishonorable.
That's pretty... Yeah.
Well. So are you going to call early or nay?
I think I'm fine. I'm actually going to aim for that. I'm going to make it so my TN to be hit is 15 and try and hit her at 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
She gets to roll against your strike now.
Okay.
Where's a shitty dice? Like a really, really shitty dice.
So does she try and strike me before I strike her? Is that how that's working?
Yes.
Okay.
It means essentially you flinched first. And you're realizing, I'm not as good a duelist as I thought I was.
Means I'm not as focused.
She rolls to strike. I see a 10! Shit!
10, yeah.
Oh, she connects with you. This is going to be horrible, sir.
Alright, it's going to be awful. Oh, that beats a 15.
Mm-hmm. 20, 25, or 2 extra things. You have one thing going in your favor, sir, and I hope it pans out.
We'll see.
You get to add damage dice equal to the difference of success. Roll like shit, please. Fuck, there's a 10 in there. She's going to be keeping her best dice because she's a mantis.
So 19.
Fuck!
Oh.
Fuck! There's one thing working in your favor. Jesus Christ, had to be rolling an 8. You are my suckiest dice of all times. Why are you trying to kill Matsuichi now? Matsuichi does not run on a system of 4. He runs on a system of 6, right?
6. Is that the moves thing here?
Yes, exactly.
And unfortunately, luck only works if I'm failing the roll. So.
Wait. No.
I can make...
Luck happens, sir.
Reroll the damage or reroll the attack?
Let's reroll the attack.
Still a 10.
They're still A10, but
That's
guess
still
what?
hit.
She's keeping less. Fuck. Good God. God damn.
Was that higher or lower? I can't remember.
That's higher.
That's higher.
31.
Yep.
So, yeah, she went up by 3.
The earlier damage set was like what? Was it 39?
Mm-hmm.
Let us do this again. They're just rolled, they're not kept. That's right.
It's 2. Yeah. 14. This time it's 14.
6, 6,
2.
So you're at -2. You can spend 2 void points to ignore your wounds on the recoup strike. Otherwise, you have 2 void? Only 2 void?
I only have 2 void.
You're going to feel pretty exhausted after this, but you can choose to do it.
The other option is to roll less dice on the return strike.
Yeah, on return strike.
I will spend.
Alright. So you're going to roll, what is it, 6k3?
Yeah.
Versus a 20. Pray you roll like a god. No!
No 0. No 10s. And not even that high. I'm not.
Can I throw my luck in with him?
Your luck affects you, good
that's
sir.
a 9?
That's a 1. What would you get? Was it a 20? That's
I got a 19.
19, you are 1 point away. So you actually miss.
Mm-hmm.
You fail the duel. Matsuichi is not dead, but you have been essentially struck down in a duel. So you do collapse from that event, and weirdly enough, your glory rank is not really too high, but Harime gets a benefit of winning the duel. So Harime's having fun there. There's a little problem though, in that she's still stuck in. The Sohei are eating these Marines for lunch. Those 2 Sohei that you were with, they're stocking you from that situation, essentially. Mm-hmm. Roll a dice and reduce the effect in half. Yeah, roll a dice. 9. Cut in half. You lose 4 points of honor. It is shameful for you to lose a duel.
Okay, so it goes from...
Little boxes. So you go from 3.5 to 3.1.
Okay.
I'm going to make sure I'm standing in front of them, and I'll definitely have my bow out just in case.
At the very end of this battle turn, something happens. Of course, Harime's unit is actually doing really good. Ginzo is going to have to face off against Mototsugu's spear unit. Basic effectiveness. Keeps the 9 and the 6. Ah, cool. Nice. The Fox are holding the line against all those Mantis. Very nice. The difference of 12, so -12 there. These guys are suffering now. Chocoba gets to fight with the Bushi. Gets to fight against those spearmen over there, which are not being led by the daimyos. This is just 2 dice versus 2 dice. Yay, keeping both. Of course, the margin of success is so stupid there, it might as well not be. This is kind of bogging down, and no one's really headed off in that direction. Then, the plants start looking a lot less realistic than they used to. The sheaves of plant get thrown aside as the illusion spell goes away, and there appears to be a small cluster of Scorpion Clan samurai leading a bunch of literal riffraff. They charge.
Like I said, I'm standing between them and the delegation.
Yeah. Because they could be shitty, right?
No, they could decide, hey, yeah, we don't want to fight those guys over there. Take hostages.
You can roll this.
Because they are penal legion.
Yes. They're a bunch of dicks. That's why they're penal agent. None of them survive, though. They run into that group of samurai looking to do as much damage as possible, and they do
Nothing.
no.
Damage.
It's the equivalent of like a negative 17 on that one unit, which is pretty hefty. So they inflict, son of a bitch. They inflict the equivalent of like negative 17 on that unit, but they're wiped out in the process because the bushi are actually pretty good at keeping their asses in good condition, and the Penal Legion are exactly what you expect. Most of them are actually using relatively cheap to acquire weapons like short spears, which are pretty much like a knife on a stick. A lot of them have a kama blade. It's just the end of a stick as well. It's just the stick has a loop on it, so they attach the kama there. And they're not given the best stuff. They don't have katanas. And of course, their weapons are probably poisoned and stuff like that because they're scorpion.
But still, only killing 17 guys for losing 60, not that good.
Yes. They do the equivalent of, this is like more like a roll to show how much power has been put against that unit.
17 degrees of wounds.
Are we ready for the next round of battle?
Yeah.
Well, we have a new thing. Akakyoku is probably going to be in reserves as usual. I'm assuming that at this point in time, Matsuichi is going to be disengaged until he gets healed.
Moved to disengage, yeah.
Okay.
Probably just sit in the blood in the mud for a bit.
I hate to say it, the Mantis are actually doing pretty well right now, and there's no negatives to their dice roll. Let us pray that the Fox just roll better so they can actually get a win in on these even dice. No 10s. They rolled nothing but 7s, but 7s and a 9. There's a 2 over here. So they're keeping the 7s, dropping those.
9, 8. Is another
2 9s and an 8.
Yep. I think
They have to drop a
Fox
7.
have-
The Fox actually have an advantage.
That's really close.
It's way close. Mototsugu is holding his ass out,
I know what my character wants to do.
but you can't really want to do it, right?
Well, there's injured people on the field.
Uh-huh.
I'm a doctor.
I see. You want to be a medic.
But I can't do that.
You're the escort of the Imperial guy right now. Actual victory for the Fox clan for one turn. So the Mantis haven't won yet, and the 3 counter has technically been a reset.
It's not looking good.
It's not looking good for either side. I mean, the Fox have not been not taking casualties. The only guys who are doing like invincible warrior bullshit on this entire battlefield are the Sohei.
The other thing is you still got the 50 archers that are still pulping the entire field.
The 50 archers have drawn back to a reserve position over here.
Seriously?
Yes.
The coordination between the Sohei and the archers was not well established.
Yeah, exactly. Were it not for the fact that, I hate to say it, were it not for the fact that Harime won a duel last turn, they would be really hating life right now. And Harime is actually kind of looking at her sword saying, maybe I'm worth something. She's technically a rank 2 samurai, but technically she has a lot of skills that are on par or subpar to what skills you have. We need to roll for our position. We've determined that Akakyoku, go ahead. You are in reserves on winning, right?
And I have a 4.
Some people are shooting arrows in your direction, but you survived that for the most part.
Who's shooting arrows at me?
Some random Mantis. They must have
I'll
survived.
shoot back.
Cool. I want to see if they actually hit you at this range. Your TN to be hit is a
18.
18. They are 1 freaking point off.
So it was a close shot where the arrow lands next to your foot and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
"I'm returned."
Oh, hell no. You didn't.
There's a lot of distance involved. You're higher ranging an arrow over here. The TN to hit him is plus 10 of usual. And the TN to hit this guy is, well, there should be a 17 too. His skill is better than Marine, I'll put it that way. He's an actual full-fledged warrior instead of a dick with a sword.
The problem is this is only a 5k too.
Go for it, try your best.
I don't see no 10s.
Yeah, no. So you're not hitting a 27 right now.
Nope.
You shot back, good sir. Matsuichi, you're disengaged and winning, right? Roll your dice.
Use a 1 die.
Yeah. 5 plus 2, right? Cool. You know what's going to happen? Matsuichi, you are wounded. And you are watching a bunch of Sohei pretty much finish off. Battle chant kicks in. And the Marines are like, what the hell is this bullshit? You're about to find out. The Marines are keeping their 10. We refuse to die like bitches. They're still kind of die like bitches, though. So another negative 11 goes in there. Someone has to make a battle plus willpower roll.
Fairly typical for a new character.
Ooh.
Not bad for a girl who is screaming at her troops to stand ground. Not bad. The last few Marines are gathered in front of Harime, and she is trying to keep them from running away. They've actually kind of backed closer to Ginzaburo. Like, this isn't actually happening here anymore at all. They've pretty much got their backs over next to this unit. And they're like, please! But they're still fighting. There's a lot of dead Marines between here and there. Mm-hmm. And the Sohei, they have a few heavily wounded guys that are now hanging out with you, essentially.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out medical stuff and first aid between each other. Yeah, Harime is making a last stand against those Sohei, which actually, you're talking about 40 guys taking this much time to kill 150 Marines, and they're down to the last 20 or so. And the fact that they don't have any dead guys and just a few wounded here and there says a lot.
Mm-hmm. They were basically just a bunch of marauders.
Yeah.
Is it possible for me to meditate at this position, or...?
You can, but it's a -2 dice.
I'll give it a go. I mean, I've got nothing else to do.
Go ahead and roll your meditation.
A full, or just go...
Yeah, meditation plus any negatives. Hey!
Oh, I rolled it...
16. You rolled... Wow. Okay, so your inner peace has been acquired.
In other words...
You don't heal anything from that, but your inner peace has been acquired.
So I do have my void back, or no?
Yes, you can get your void back.
Cool.
However, you're kind of centering yourself right now. You're not going to jump right up and go into battle right away.
No, it's mostly just calming down.
All right, guys, ready for the next round? That was a very lull in the battle as far as you're concerned.
The duel, but that's not where I will find glory.
Let's see the Fox and the Mantis fight it out here. This was turned kind of a holding action because Chocoba is trying to make sure the bushi aren't scattering it around and not being effective, because those Penal Legion guys did do some damage. Oh, shit.
The Mantis just took it again.
Damn, Mr. Chief.
They get to keep 2 out of the 3. Dash without a pain. That's -22. Mototsugu is going to get heavily engaged this next turn. He's going to have to step up and take this himself. His men there are like, oh no! They are down to a Shrivnet. It's literally like a line of guys.
What's happening is I'm sitting here thinking, archers, you should be shooting into this. I don't care if it's a melee.
Well, the archer's going to be nice backup if this folds right here. They're going to be able to shoot right there and start killing fuckers.
And it depends on getting your archers are more valuable than anything else.
Akakyoku, you notice a single horseman riding down as fast as humanly possible on that road.
We have her banner over here with us, don't we?
Her banner?
Yeah.
Over here?
Yeah.
Yes, her personal banner, not the Fox banner. The Fox banner is actually surrounded by Mantis guys right now, which is not a good sign.
No, but at the same time, it's kind of to be expected.
Let's decide our positions in this battle. Where do you guys want to be again?
Again,
You're in reserves.
Probably reserves at this point.
You're going to be in reserves as well.
I'm not charging injured. Until I'm in melee.
The sensible Ronin. Mototsugu has suffered greatly, I hate to say it. He is going to be down a single dice. But that's dice he gets to roll, not dice he gets to keep.
want to pull out some talismans or something and start throwing them. God, Fox rolls crap.
Mantis rolls crap too. Mantis win this round. Genzaburo is happy as fuck, by the way. He's been winning.
Are the Sohei an independent army or a part of the Fox army?
What?
Technically, they're independent.
They're independent, you
They're
forces.
an independent army.
You actually didn't spend a lot of time trying to figure out who those guys were. So, I'm going to roll this because it has to happen. Mototsugu is heavily engaged, and he is presently losing. Losing, heavily engaged. He's rolling on this column. He gets to roll his water of 3, his battle of 3, 9. He gets to roll a 15. Down here. Where he fucking wants to be. Duel. So, Mototsugu is going to challenge Ginzaburo to a duel. And if this fails, Mototsugu, the leader of the army, is going to go down. If this succeeds, Ginzaburo, the general of the other army, goes down. You guys are losing in reserves. Get a reserves roll for each of you guys, please.
What is it? Just one?
Yeah, 1 dice plus the 2, remember? You're at a 7 again. Yeah, thanks for
Let's try that again.
Yeah, try that again. 7 plus 2 for a 9.
9 reserve.
Reserves losing. Yeah, you're both in the same spot again. Let me just assume you guys are in reserves, and it's coming down to Mototsugu doing his duel thing, right?
At this point, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a doctor. I'm not a fighter.
You're a
I
doctor,
can
not a duelist.
I can fight, yes. Am I good at it? No.
Does Ginza Buro have a possibility of backing off? Fuck no. Guess who's actually a relatively decent duelist, generally speaking? One of them does really suck at dueling, but we haven't found that guy yet. Not happy. Fuck, it's not bad at all.
It's a good average on a 10.
Yeah, he was. He was the better duelist, and he just didn't roll a 10. What's the difference there? 20, 25, 2. Yeah, this guy was stronger than usual. Fuck a duck. Duck gets no say in the matter. Thank God for a lack of 10s. He rolled to succeed, but man, oh man. 17. So 6, 6, and then 5. He's at -2. That -2, sadly enough, goes to his battle rolls. Mototsugu has been wounded, and he is going to stay on the front line, though.
Did he get the strike back?
Let's see that, then.
Void points?
We're going to use void points on his battle, if anything else. Sadly.
He keeps 2 though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So,
Keeps you.
so just a 12 and
18. So he's got,
-2.
yeah,
He just took 18 damage.
6, 6, 6. He's at the very bottom of -2.
Wait, does he have luck?
No. So both generals have been cut down to rolling just 4K3. Their troops are actually holding the back. That battle has been put on a slight hold because of the duel. Here's the battle where it's going to be kind of nasty. You got the Budoka versus the other samurai.
Yeah, we're splitting the 2 15 units.
Mm-hmm.
We're dropping the 1, keeping that for a total of 10. They beat us, though. A knock of 4. Here's the fun thing. Mototsugu didn't die. He might be... Hopefully he doesn't die of his wounds. You guys are pretty much holding out as far as this is concerned.
What's the rider doing?
He's coming in fast. At this point, you recognize the rider. What rider on the Fox clan side would have bright red armor and be carrying a spear?
Actually, I don't know if I've seen this guy in armor.
You want to hear the fun thing? I'm going to roll a single dice.
I'm probably going to...
See this dice, guys? I'm going to roll a single dice. A 9! 9! You hear something, but you're like, what the hell could that possibly be? Akakyoku, you're actually closer, and you can kind of tell what's going on.
So, what do I hear?
You hear a horn blasting. It is a low bass horn. Now, in Rokugan, there are a lot of horns, but they tend to a conch horn, which has more of a wail to it, or it's an actual horn, where it's got a bit more of shrillness to it. This is a very strange low bass horn. And it's loud, and it echoes.
I'm going to turn...
Yamagi is looking over her shoulder.
Yamagi and the Herald... I believe the crab have arrived.
Not so much after a second you said something like that. There is, for those who can see, the ridgeline. There has been kind of a bit of a fogginess up there, but the fog is cleared. And that ridgeline is lined with spears, and guys with spears, and banners. If the Mantis brought 1,000 samurai, they're now sitting back there. There's easily 1,000 or more crab samurai lining the ridgetop, if not lining the depth, because you see a lot of spears and a lot of banners for a good kilometer. So that's a lot of guys. You see way over there, Doumeki's little entourage has been sitting off in the distance. There's a bit of commotion over there. Like horses are readjusting, people are looking, signal flags are happening.
Can I tell by clan what flags are flying?
Yeah, go ahead and do heraldry and perception. Do good on your perception rolls, man. I'm sorry, this distance, you've got to do great.
Well,
No, it's no longer a 15. Try to go for 20 or 25.
that'll do it.
34. Not bad, sir. You kind of are stumped for a second, but then you recover your brains because you're on a Sako and you know this kind of shit. there are 4 banners of the Hida family. There's a good 10 or 12 banners that are Haruma banners. They are the most mobile warriors. They're known for mostly their archery or for their spear skills. There are 4 banners of the Kaiu. God knows what kind of warriors they've brought, but they're mostly like siege experts. Weirdly enough, there are also 4 banners worth of the Yasuki, of all things, have brought banners as well. The Yasuki are known for being traitors?
Yeah, I'm like...
And negotiators, but the negotiators happen to bring units as well. There's enough banners up there. They have at least that many officers. They probably have a full General Hatamoto on hand. So there's probably a house daimyo here.
24 major banners. And on average, you're looking at 100 people per major banner. You're looking at least 2,000 troops up on that wall. Mantis just got outnumbered 2-1. Is there a way to, like, call a halt to a giant fight like this?
If you're an Imperial,
Yeah.
I guess you can. You are on foot. But the 2 people who are on horseback can go right up and talk to the Crab Clan General if they wish to.
I'm actually asking the Imperial dude, is there a way to, like, call a halt to this kind of engagement?
At this point, Kakujo looks at you and says, "You have done a fine job of assisting me. The daimyo and I will go talk to the crab. If you want to go tend to the wounded, please present yourself as neutral. After you pull the stuff out of your saddlebags, then the daimyo and them can go."
Then the medical bag over the shoulder.
So they head this way. So Yamagi and crew are headed there. And Akakyoku is now in this direction.
Yep.
Yay.
Is there, like, an actual set of colors for just the healers?
In Rokugan? No. Rokugan healers tend to just wear bland, drab colors that don't stand out. You see Doumeki's entourage on the hill move the hell off that hill. You do see the crabs start cresting the hill like they're going to come down. The Imperial flag and the flag of the Fox are still waving towards that army. You do see there's a small banner that's next to the major banner. Does disconnect for a second, right off on horseback in your direction. You're doing other things right now, so you can't quite see what's going on after that.
I'm assuming that Doumeki's sending a representative to talk to the crab.
That's these guys. Yamagi and Kakujo are headed toward the crab.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's what's happening here. I'm going to roll swimming down here, just for the hell of it. Are they going to halt? Because the Mantis have humongous problems right now. If the crab are hostile to the Mantis are very likely fucked.
See, this is the kind of response I was expecting out of the Scorpion.
A penal legion that large would be a very, very big problem. General versus general. The Mantis are technically winning this one, but they're also not engaging. Everybody's in standoff mode. And
Pulling back.
both the generals know that some shit is going down behind them. And it doesn't make any better here to continue what's going on here if that turns out something different.
It's probably going to take me a turn or two just to get down there.
In fact, it doesn't matter too much.
What are the Sohei doing in this situation?
The Sohei care very little about actual clan politics because they're monks. However, there are Marines that would prefer to exist.
Are they going to break and run?
We're going to keep that. Our good 11 casualties. 11 out of 20 means they're down to the last 9 guys. Harime is... There's no surrender in Rokugan. You have the option of running away like a coward or dying where you stand. And a lot of these Marines are running away.
I could have swore there was a surrender option.
Samurai usually don't surrender. Peasants might. Bandits might. Although bandits don't get treated with surrender, trust me. It's not honorable to lose either way. Most samurai that carry a sword, though, would rather die than have that loss of honor. Harime runs over to join this unit, and her Marines are no longer attainable. Ginzo is now in a position to strike this unit, but Ginzo holds up his hand, realizing something's going on.
9 left, and
What?
just the blender slowly getting closer and closer and something.
Oh,
to stop
dude.
it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Mantis have not been screwing around and sucking down. They've been doing really good. This is the final setup of the battle as this is being resolved over here.
Sad thing is, I'm going to have to find somebody to set up a giant-ass tent.
You're going to be healing wounded underneath the open sky for right now. There's obviously potentially a fracas between the arriving crab and the Mantis that have been hanging back in the valley below. The signal is given eventually by the Mantis forces to gather around the daimyo's banner, which, of course, for the guys who are over here fighting, means they have to go that way to where the daimyo is. So there is an impetus to go over here and join up with the Mantis forces that are held back due to Imperial decree. For those who've played the card game, yes, the Imperial Favor is annoying to deal with. Your little commentary earlier about stopping huge battles before they actually happen. Miyakakujo has pulled his weight more than once today. Crab and Mantis are not going to fight, although the Crab are going to stay there until the Mantis get their asses off the field. You actually get to see Matsuichi in his wounded form.
Probably just building like splints and crutches at some point, resting for a couple of hours.
Oh yeah.
You're assuming you're not bleeding out.
I'm
actually at the point of, let's be honest, let's go triage. People who are pretty much look like they're about a -4.
Yeah.
I'm not touching.
Uh-huh.
Set them over there. They survive. We got other people to worry about.
The Fox clan do have Shigenja who are healers on their side. One of the things that arrived with Yukimura was a small batch of healing Shigenja as well. Although he was fully looking to just duel people to death. Because that's one thing that he's good at. He hasn't had a chance to show is that, hey, look, guys, I can duel. However, 42 peasants remain after the battle and 11 samurai. All the samurai are wounded. None of the Fox clan samurai got off without some kind of scratch.
Oh yeah.
And some of them are very seriously wounded. Kitsune Mototsugu has quite the scar from the duel, and he does need tending to. You will not get to tend to him, though. Shugen is going to him as soon as possible.
Yeah, I figured.
He may need to be retired, though, because he is in Doctorsville as far as his state of health is concerned.
Yeah.
He
He was
help.
old, so.
He was old, and he got hit hard enough. He really needs some help. You can roll the general effect, and we'll see what's going on there.
Intelligence medicine.
Intelligence medicine, yes, sir.
6K3. 5, 9, 8. Keep. 4 and 3. And the 10 goes to 17.
You are a very effective healer. Shigenjas are required for the people that are in the big negatives. People who are smaller, so you're able to wrap them up so they can at least function just fine.
Just out of curiosity, am I able to save any of the Scorpion?
And honestly speaking, some of the Scorpion samurai that were there as officers were looking to kill them all anyway.
I'm just kind of curious if any of them survived.
That's not what the Scorpion are thinking. And the Scorpion are in charge of that unit.
Yeah.
As a result of the battle, stories are told afterwards. People are discussing what went on, and historians are hard at work recording the events that occurred. It is discovered that you were the escort to the Imperial Herald. That gains you 4 points of glory, so you gain a 0.4 in glory. For joining and for his attempt at dueling and his actions throughout the battle, and it gets mentioned that Matsuichi was, involved in a duel on the left flank of this battle. Matsuichi goes up a rank in glory. You gain 10 points. You go up an entire rank.
So I go up to from 0.4 to 1.4.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
And now he's back to being a normal samurai as far as glory is concerned. Not status, just glory. That's why I was writing all your initials all over this chart during the battle. I was figuring during which round of the battle were you doing which things. And so there's a glory reward for being in battle. You guys did pretty well for surviving a small skirmish between two clans that, by the way, goes down in the history books as being an actual battle that was fought in Rokugan during this time period. So what are you guys thinking as far as your own characters are concerned?
How do wounds heal? I don't know. I'm at -3.
Wounds heal over time. Time has to pass. With 14 wounds, you'll get those back. You can have a stamina of 3. If you sit back and heal, you'll probably recover those fully after 5 or 6 weeks. Well, considering what you just been through, yeah, it's pretty good for Rokugan.
I'll just take a band-aid.
What are you thinking about as far as your character?
After I'm assuming the wounded are pretty much taken care of,
Yeah.
back to generic court life as far as things go. If I'm needed for anything, I'm going to help out.
You'll notice that there's some Phoenix Clan supplies that are reinforcing the Fox Clan castle right now. One Shigenja has arrived as well, with an actual piece of paper that says if they can relieve you of your position if you would like to go somewhere else.
My own problem is, as far as that goes, is I've really got nowhere to go.
I am curious about the Crab Clan and why that's something I could figuring out over time as I'm healing, basically.
Yeah. You're healing as opposed to going and chatting down with the Crab Clan and Samurai.
There is that valid. Would I have anything to do with trade negotiations potentially
With
between Phoenix and the Crab?
The Phoenix and the Crab do not have a very wide history with each other, since one is a war clan and one is a peace clan. For the most part, if you wanted to initiate some kind of trade agreement with the Crab, you can.
I'd probably try to do that. Get some kind of relationship going where...
Well, you'll have to go to Crab Clan territory for that, because the funny thing is the Crab aren't actually staying. They showed up, they did their thing.
If the Shigenja... Are they there to reinforce me or replace me?
The Phoenix Clan Shigenja?
Yeah.
Well, this is someone who also has the ability to do long-distance communication. So if the Phoenix want to have long-distance communication, instead of having a proxy, they now have someone there they can actually do it with. So
that's probably a good idea.
They're actually thinking, you're an investigator. You should probably be doing something more than just hanging around a court if you want to.
I've actually don't mind that idea. I don't really think there's anything left at this court that he personally wants to do.
What about Matsuichi? What's Matsuichi thinking?
After the incident and everything's unraveling and satisfying his curiosity to the best of his degree, you're still figuring out where to head off to, right?
I'm probably thinking Crablands.
But we didn't figure out where that guy got his sword.
And that is Scorpion Lands, where we need to go for that.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's go find that out, because that actually is somewhat interesting.
You know what's really funny? You do feel a tug one night at sleep. And it's interesting, you realize, oh my god, this is the night that I was taken from the Phoenix Lands. Mm-hmm. And in that dream, all of a sudden you see these eyes before you as someone's looking into your face. I see if you decided a different path.
I can go where I please. I think everyone has a way of calling for me when they need me.
You feel this tug. You have this almost vision in your head of what the Phoenix Clan lands look like in the court you departed from. But when you wake up in the morning, you have this feeling that you should be in Phoenix Clan lands. But you're not.
As in, it's not the sense that that's the direction I should head to. It's like that's where I should be right now.
You reflected down from a certain spot in time to a different place in Rokugan. Mm-hmm. And instead of returning to the spot you were taken from, you're no longer there.
So I basically notice a moment when I am not there anymore.
Yes. Instead of reflecting back to the land where you came from, you are now elsewhere. As it stands, the two of you guys can go wandering off into Scorpion Lands, looking for the mystery behind why the storyteller Wada of Nihai got his hands on such a nasty little artifact. There's a few other secrets that might evade you, but that's okay. Sometimes you don't learn everything. Did Akakyoku feel like one last roll on a long-distance communication, or do you just want to talk with the Phoenix Clan Shigenja that's right there?
I'll actually probably talk to the Shigenja that's here. Pretty much, this is what happened. I'll actually give a blow-by-blow.
You actually can do something else you might have been thinking about earlier that you can do right now.
Write some histories down.
Yes.
I'll make sure a copy stays here and one goes to Phoenix Lands.
Cool. How would you guys like a nice fat group of, let's say, 8 experience points to finish off the arc?
Cool.
So you have plenty of experience points to do cool stuff with. Hopefully it adds up with the other points you spent.
I'm going to make sure I send another letter to my friend and my true love, giving my perspective of what happened during this court time, and telling them, hey, you may want to keep this, you may want to send it on, but as a friend, this is my perspective on what happened.
After the moment where I realized that I've gone back in time, I'm going to write a very long letter to Sawado explaining
why you're not in court.
What the hell happened over the last few
There's
days.
a reason why I'm not there in Phoenix Lands waiting to talk with you right now.
Who is that supposed to be?
Well, you want to go look for Wada of Nihai's past, right?
Yep.
There is a certain individual who might also be interested in looking for Wada of Nihai's past.
Oh yeah, the Scorpion dude.
Yeah. Bayushi Yoshinobu. He's got a soft spot for the Fox clan, but he's also realized you guys are good company. He may be a filthy scorpion, but he's looking to help you guys out.
Better the Scorpion you know than one you don't.
Yeah, tell me about it. Any other last commentary, or is that it?
I think that's it.
Alright, cool. The arc ends. Next time, who knows?